Hi, what's up everyone? It's been really good to see all of the excitement the last few days since they announced the Division 3. We've been speaking a lot about it in DMs with you in the community. We are hyped. I'm really hyped. I can't wait. I can't wait for the next few years now to get more news after news, what they're going to do, what we're going to be getting, all the way leading up to the release date or the beta before that as well. It's so exciting that we're getting a sequel to the best game I have ever played. I really can't wait. Now, what I did is, I mentioned that I wanted some information from you guys as to what you want to see in the game. What do you want them to do for the Division 3? And Pony, he set up a chat channel in our Discord. He asked you guys, and a lot of you have been posting. There's some great requests here. There's some real good feedback. So what I'm going to do today, I just want to go through this chat channel that we set up. I'm going to discuss the things that are standing out there. We're going to discuss 10 things that we want in the Division 3. First is something that I have seen over and over. I've heard it over and over again for the last 3 to 4 years, ever since the Division 2 was released. People want snow to return. They loved the environment in the Division 1. It had a special feeling to it. The snow, how kind of dull it was. It just added to the whole feels and atmosphere of the game. People want this to return. They want this similar sort of atmosphere. It's been widely requested. And I think that if they did the Division 3 in this sort of environment again, they'd be instantly on a winner. Next is the ability to crossplay. Crossplay in recent years has now, it's became expected. You know, whenever you buy a game now, you want to be able to play with people that are playing on PlayStation, Xbox or PC. And it's something, again, that's really widely requested. I've heard the same thing over and over again since the Division 2 came out, really, is I want crossplay. It's so annoying having to play the game on 3 different platforms like I have and start all over again. Even if it was just a cross save, that would save so much time. And Destiny 2 did it over the last few years. They implemented it onto the current game. And that sparked a huge debate as to why the Division 2 could not do that. They stated very clearly, though, that it wasn't going to happen. However, with a new title, I would fully expect that the Division 3 will be crossplay. Something else that I've discussed with you for years now is, will the Division ever go outside of the United States? Again, this is something that is highly requested by a lot of people. People would love to see the Division come to the UK. For an example, to London. Imagine a base of operations being Buckingham Palace. It'd be amazing. There's so many locations they could take this game. I did a video about this yesterday, though, to discuss this, and there's an argument as to why they wouldn't be able to do that. Now, the Division Agency, it's an agency of the United States. It's there to protect communities. It's not military or anything like that, and there's no reason at all why the Division would go overseas. You know, they're not even going to have Division agencies overseas or anything like that. It is just a US agency protecting their communities. Now, my only argument about that is that when you did the Feilau manhunt mission, you did get a hold of the Langley files, and they gave you a situational report on other locations around the world. Why would they put that there? Are they hinting about going somewhere else in the world? Also, Sokolova, who's Russian, who's to say that the story isn't going to go where, like, she escapes, she goes back to Russia or somewhere else in the world, and there's a nuclear threat or something like that to the USA that we've got to go and deal with, and the only way we can protect our nation is by traveling to that other continent or country and dealing with that situation. I think it is feasible to say that we could go outside of the USA. There could be a storyline plot that makes us do that. However, I am inclined to think that it is going to stay in the United States of America, and I expect us to have another state, maybe something like Florida or Philadelphia. Something else that I'm seeing a ton of, especially in their posts in the Discord over the last day or so, is more raids. Raids on the Division 2, I'm going to say we're kind of hit and miss, because we had Dark Hours, we had Iron Horse. At the time, at the launch, there was like big fuss around them. There was like the World's Race to First Clear and stuff like that. But as time went on, the 8-player raid system just didn't really work. There was no matchmaking. People really struggled to get inside of raids. It was only really the people that were able to raid that really enjoyed it. Now, don't get me wrong, raids were probably some of the best content that Division 2 has had to offer. The issue was it was limited to a very small percentage of people. Now, I fully believe that raids will be a part of the Division 3. I just think they are going to be different and not 8-player raids. You're probably looking at 4 to 6-player raids. And I'd like to think matchmaking would be a thing for it. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I certainly think after exploring raids and seeing the excitement around it and how many people are actually interested in it, our community has practically been built on it as well. It's definitely going to be a thing in the Division 3. I just think it's going to be tweaked quite a lot. The evidence is there as well. Like recently, they've just announced an incursion that's coming to the Division 2, which is a 4-player activity, which will be very much raid-like. And it did say that kind of is replacing the raids. Halfway through now, and something else I've heard a lot in recent years, even in the Division 1 really, is people want the ability to be a rogue agent. Now, I know you have that in PvP in the Dark Zone. You can go rogue, you can fight people, but they want it to be part of the main storyline. They want us to choose whether we want to be an agent of the Division or a rogue agent. I think there have to be a big overhaul of the game for this to happen, personally. As good as it sounds, thinking of games like Starfield and those sort of games where there's loads of decisions that you make as you go through, there's different factions you can work for, that sort of game would work great here. You could choose whether to actually work for the agent, well, be an agent of the Division, or you could choose to be rogue and go against the agents of the Division. But in this sort of game, I'm not sure that they would go down that route and complexity to make that happen. But who knows? It would be something cool if you could do that, and it might be something they're looking at. I know one thing they did mention a long time ago, they asked for feedback on it, and they asked, rather than like an RPG game for the Division, what if we made a more storytelling game to explore more of the story of the Division? So think of like, I don't know, that sort of game, Starfield, or a sort of Last of Us Uncharted sort of game, a proper storytelling cutscene type of game that isn't about making builds or anything like that. I think if they made a game like that, that's where that would fit in perfectly with decision making and you being able to alter the story. Survival has been something that we have requested ever since the Division 2 came out. What a great mode this was in the Division 1. It was the best mode the Division 1 had to offer, in my opinion, and it never ever came. A mode like this has been long requested, and people are still saying now that they want to see survival in the Division 3. They want this mode back. The argument as to why I think they wouldn't put a mode like this on the Division 3 is because they're making Heartland. Heartland is basically going to be Survival 2.0. It should be giving you all of those survival feels, and just on a larger scale. It's a very similar type of game mode, and I hope and I think that is going to sort all your cravings out for this mode. But what a mode it was, I couldn't agree more. This should have been included in the Division 2. I think it was my favorite mode, and it is different to Heartland in many ways as well. So who knows? Maybe they will give us exactly what they want and remake survival for the Division 3. I'm just switching the footage over to some Remnant 2 action now, but for good reason. A lot of people have been asking for a dog companion. So imagine that. You're going through your Division 3 playthrough. Not only can you play with other co-op members and invite friends or whatnot, but you could play with your own pet, your dog. In Remnant 2, they do this great. The dog's got like special abilities. He can help you in your combat. He can revive you, and he can fall for the floor. And also, it adds a different sort of feel to the game when you play it, and it makes it more immersive, I guess. And you really care for your pet. I think it's great. They did include dogs in the Division 2. You had the dog that you could pet at New York, and you also more recently had the dog that you could pet at the castle. So I don't know, what do you think about this? Would you like an animal companion to play the Division 3 through with you? I think it's a pretty cool idea, but I think it's something that he probably wouldn't do. And next is something from me. I've seen this echoed across the board as well by a lot of people. But what I want from the Division 3 is a well-supported and structured plan to take us on a generational journey. I don't want a game that they only plan for 2 years. I don't think that is what the Division is. I want a game where they plan for 10 years. Think of Destiny. They made a 6-year plan when they made Destiny 2. Every single year had an expansion. Every expansion came with new locations, new raids, new content, new game modes. They charged you up to £80 per season, per year for all these seasons and all this content. People paid it because they loved it. They loved playing the game. They loved the dedication put into the game, and they always wanted something new to do. And when you ask a lot of Division players what the issue is with the game, it is the lack of content. It's the content drought. It's not having that consistent content that's coming all of the time. Now, I know you're not going to be able to please everybody, But if you plan ahead and you plan right and you just don't plan for 2 years, if you allow the division to have a team that's dedicated to it, that you're not going to rip apart for any other projects. If another project comes along, you are going to hire a team for that and just let the division team do what they need to do. And that is to make this game the best game that it can be, the best game in the world, because it truly is the best game in the world. It's just that it's on a model that doesn't suit it. It needs constant content, constant expansions. That's just what we need. And that's what I want. I want year 1, year 2, all the way through to year 10. Expansion after expansion. I think many of us would pay the money every year to have that. Obviously, we're going to have bugs. They're going to have to deal with bugs. But keeping that consistent team in place, they'll deal with those bugs quick. And we can keep that content flowing. I really would like to see the Division 3 go onto this sort of model, because I believe that is what the franchise deserves. And finally, the number one thing I have seen requested in our Discord chat recently, in my comments on my videos and discussing this with you all, more stash space. But that is it. That's everything that I've seen and we've been discussing about in the Discord community and with you in video comments of what we'd like to see in the Division 3. Let me know in the comments now exactly what you want. Let's talk about this. You know, how, if you were to make the Division 3, if you were the developer, if you made all the choices, what would you do? What would it be? Be interesting to read your comments. But that's it for this video today. Thank you for watching. I'm very excited for the Division 3. I'm sure you are as well. I can't wait for more information. We'll be keeping you posted on the channel as and when we get it. Thanks for watching this today. Until next time, stay safe and peace out.